Hi everybody, welcome. Today's class is going to be really soothing. It's going to help us connect with our breath and our roots. So our physical contact with the earth, our anchoring inside, so that we can feel more grounded and release layers of tension and feel a little lighter and freer at the end of class. So with that, we can begin by turning to our left and very gently starting to make your way towards the mat. Let this be slow and steady and conscious, just beginning to feel your connection to the earth and letting the natural weight of your body help you relax and release. Stack the hands. Let the elbows come wide. Bring the forehead to the hands. Stretch the toes back and slightly open so you've got some space between your feet. And then begin to soften. And please, in this pose and in all poses, make any adjustments so that you're as comfortable as possible. We never want to build tension. Our goal in this practice of yoga is to release tension physically, mentally, emotionally, and even energetically. And so once you've made those small adjustments, allowing neck and shoulders to relax, allowing the low back to relax, notice your breath. And try breathing through your nose if that's possible. There are lots of benefits when you can do that. And let your breath be natural and start to follow the pathway of the breath. And see if the breath can naturally travel down towards the belly, and you might feel the pressure of the belly pushing down gently into the yoga mat. And as you feel that pressure, see if you can also observe the sides of the body expanding, the back of the body expanding as well. And as you are able to allow the breath to fill the bottom of the body cavity, you might notice that the neck and shoulders are able to relax more. And as that happens, give yourself permission to make little adjustments, letting the elbows come wider, letting the shoulders draw down and wide on the back. You may even want to tuck the chin a little bit more so the back of the neck lengthens. You can always switch the stack of your hand as well. We'll take several breaths like this. It might feel like you're not doing anything. And first of all, congratulations, because how often do we not get to do anything? But something is happening here. It takes a lot of strength in the diaphragm to breathe in this position. And so you are actually getting stronger in a very important way. So if you're someone who likes to accomplish a lot and it's hard to relax, just know that very important things are happening here. We'll just take a couple more breaths. And then gently point the fingertips forward and let the arms start to lengthen out. And it should feel really good. It should feel like relief. You can even tent the fingertips and crawl them forward a little bit more, letting the shoulder blades reach long on the back. Take a couple of breaths and start to lift your left foot. cross your left foot over the right. Keep your left hand down and kick the left foot away from you. Notice how the left hip starts to peel open. And then eventually the left side of the rib cage. Be aware of the right side. Make sure the right side feels comfortable. Make any adjustments. Keep the left fingertips down as long as you can, but eventually allow them to start to slide until you roll onto your back. And my leg ended up on my blanket, but it's kind of nice. So if that happens, you can move it or you can be okay with it. And we're going to go back the way we came. So lift the left leg, cross it over, stretch it long on the mat, and just like before, the left hand is going to stay anchored as long as possible as you slowly guide the left hip over. Let that gently tug on the rib cage. The head can subtly hover, and eventually the left arm will follow last till you're back on your belly. And when you arrive back on the belly, scan the left side of the body. We just did that one time, but perhaps you can start to feel those connections being made from fingertips through to the core, down to the toes. And we'll do that one more time on the exact same side. And you can go ahead of me or stay with me. Lift the left leg, cross it over, let it drag the whole rest of the body. And then when you arrive on your back, bring the knees into the chest and gently curl up. Feeling the abdomen come towards the thighs. Gently recline. Stretch everything out. Kick out through the heels. And then left leg over right. Roll back onto the belly. And we'll do the same thing to the other side. So now the right leg lifts and gently pulls the whole body over. And you might need to scoot over so you've got room to roll on this side. So adapt if you need to. The first one, we just pause on the back and then go back the way you came. Try to keep breathing. Allow the breath to be natural and try to feel how the right leg initiates the movement and the rest of the body follows. We'll do that one more time and we'll add in that gentle crunch. So whenever you make it to your back, curl up. And as you curl up, notice how the front of the body can gently suction in towards the back of the body, supporting the spine from both directions. When you kick out, try reaching out through the heels. That can help support the legs a little extra. And now we'll continue a couple more rounds on your own. And so you'll roll from side to side and take a gentle crunch. You can move at any pace. So maybe you're wanting to speed up a little bit at this point. That's totally fine. Maybe you like the pace that I set. You're also welcome to skip any of the movements. Maybe just focusing on the roll. And try to observe your body moving through space, almost as if you were on the outside, looking in, not trapped in one muscle or one body part, but able to see the whole thing. The next time you roll over your left side, back onto your belly, pause there. Gently drag the elbows in, bring them underneath the shoulders, fingers forward, and shift the weight from elbow to elbow, letting the shoulders wake up a little bit. You can try walking the elbows forward slightly, back slightly, until you find a nice supportive Sphinx pose. First, let yourself relax. Let your belly soften. Make sure there's no pain in the low back. Take a couple of breaths down towards the front of the pelvis. On your next exhale, bend the left knee and gaze over the right shoulder. Take a breath here and then switch sides. And repeat this a few times and see if you can notice the sensation from the front of the hip up to the opposite shoulder. Just a gentle stretching. Got an asymmetrical back bend here. The most important thing I would say is that your low back feels supported, and so sometimes that means not going as far or moving a little slower or breathing a little deeper. And then come back to center, melt the body down, elbows wide, hands stacked back to our starting position, and soften for a moment. And notice in just a few minutes if anything in your body has shifted, perhaps the breath, perhaps your awareness. And then start to push your body up, hands underneath shoulders, walk the hands in so you're in a tabletop. If you're following along with the playlist, you can hit play on the first track and make sure it's set to loop. You can always grab a sip of water. And from tabletop, gently start to paw out the mat, being really soft with the hands. Let the knuckles gently come away from the yoga mat. So the contact of your hands is mostly the horseshoe from the thumb around to the pinky through the base of the wrist. Try walking the hands back a little bit, forward a little bit, open them wider. All these different positions are going to wake up different muscles in the arms and the shoulders. So there's not a right or wrong. We just want more support. If you feel pain or discomfort, then I'd say maybe avoid that. Or definitely avoid that. Tuck the toes underneath if you haven't already. Send the hips back and start to draw some big circles with the hips. And notice how as the hips come closer to the feet, you might get more sensation, more stretch in the bottom of the foot. You don't want to muscle into anything or strain in any way, so it's okay if your hip circles are small. Go the opposite direction. And then play with keeping the feet still. So I'm noticing as I move my hips, my ankles want to wobble in and out. And as I keep them still, it's waking up more support and stabilization in the ankle muscles. So you're welcome to play with that too. Come back to tabletop. Walk the hands forward, one hand print, and gently start to push into the hands to round the spine, sending the hips as far back as is comfortable, keeping the hands static. And then slowly push down into the shins, roll up one vertebra at a time, coming to kneeling and gently sweeping the arms back, maybe 5% of a back bend here. We'll play between those two shapes, lowering the hands back down, pawing them forward, pushing into the hands as you scoop the belly. Imagine that the hands are pushing the belly button back and up. So as you push into the hands, you're stretching the low back. That's where most of the sensation is. And then push down into the shins to roll up. Little back bend here. And in fact, while we're up, bring your hands to your belly button and then bring them slightly below the belly button. And so as we will be coming back down to this action, try to feel the sensation of the front edge of the body gently sucking in as if you were trying to support your spine from the front. So let's try that again, pawing the hands forward. Push into the hands. You can even bring one hand to that bottom space below the belly button. Push into your one hand to try to round the spine, letting that space below the belly button hug in and up, and then gently roll up. And so the beauty of that action is as you gently roll up, you have a lot of support on the spine. This might feel simple, but it's awakening deep core muscles. Take a few on your own. If you want to sync it with the breath, try inhaling as you roll up and exhaling as you lower with control. Paw the hands forward and stretch the sacrum back. The sits bones are heavy here. It's okay for the spine to round. It's totally healthy for the spine to round as long as you have support in the core, which is what we're doing. And the next time you roll up, take your left foot, place it forward in a short lunge, and the left foot is slightly to the left, towards the left side of your mat. Bring your hands down, and if that's not comfortable, you can grab blocks. I'm going to use this ginormous blanket because I already have it ready, so you're welcome to try that as well. Look at your left foot and start to circle the weight on the left heel. And notice what happens as the weight circles. You might see the foot shifting around, weight rolling from side to side. And then anchor the left big toe. Not in an intense way, but just gently allow it to pin to the mat. And as you continue to circle the weight on the heel, notice what's different now that the big toe is anchored. You might notice the arch of your foot more. You might notice that the foot has to work a little harder. And maybe you even just have more awareness of your foot as you do this. Pause. Keep that anchoring with the big toe. And now just bend into the ankle a little bit more and extend a couple of times. Letting the knee come forward. Keep the weight in the heel. You don't want any pressure in the front of the knee here. And then play with changing the direction of the toes. I'm going to turn a little so you can see that. So try turning the toes out. Keep bending into the ankle. You can play with turning the toes in. Allow the foot to come wider. And again, you never want to feel pressure in the knee, but the joints are really adaptable, right? They don't just move forward and back. As you explore your body, it's safe as long as there's no pain and no pressure or tension at the joints. Just waking up muscles and exploring. And let's meet with our left toes turned out to the left. Push down into the legs to slowly rise up into an extended side angle prep pose. So the toes are pointed off to the side. And take a couple of test bends in the knee. Keep all the weight in the heel. If the weight is in the heel, the knee is stable and protected. The next time you come into your stretch, hover out of it just an inch or two and notice any sense of engagement through the inner thighs up through the pelvic floor. Open your arms to T and take a couple of little pulses, keeping that engagement alive. The arms can gently lift and lower. And I've turned to the side so you can see what's happening. I'm going to turn back to where you guys are. Lower the hands down. Point the left toes. Gently guide the left foot behind you. Tuck the toes under. And either stretch the calf here with the right knee down or push into the hands. Let the right knee hover and take a staggered downward facing dog. Ooh, that feels really good. I recommend trying it. Because let's actually pulse between those two shapes. Lower the right knee down. Gently lift the right hand, circling open towards the right. And then lower the right hand. Push into the the hands for our staggered down dog. We'll add in the breath now. So your inhale will take you forward into the arm spiral, and the exhale will plant the hand and push you back into down dog. We'll do one more. Nice. And the next time the right knee lowers, bring the left knee forward to meet it. Untuck the toes, send the hips back to the heels, and grab your big prop. It doesn't have to be mathematical, but we just want some support under our elbows and under our forehead. Make any adjustments with the arms, bringing the fingertips, the index fingers towards one another so the elbows bend slightly, feels nice, and let the body soften, relax, and absorb the gentle sequence we've just done. And as you breathe, bring your awareness to that space below the navel. Maybe you can feel how on the inhale that space expands and opens. And as you exhale, that space gently hollows out, supporting the front of the spine, maybe even gently rounding the low back a little bit more. Tent the fingertips, extend the arms, and gently push into the fingertips to magnify that gentle rounding in the low back. And it should feel like the hands are connected right to the low back. So as you push, all of the length is sent into that low back space. You can gently sway hips from side to side. And then bring the weight into the pelvis so you can roll up one vertebra at a time. Move your blanket over to the side. And slowly float into a kneeling position, letting the hands come back. We'll do just one of those cat stretches, reaching the hips back, pawing the hands forward. Push into the hands to round the spine, letting the hips reach back towards the heels. We're sort of halfway between cat and Bhaktasana. And then gently roll up to kneeling. We're going to add on here. I'm going to turn towards you so you can see this. Grab an invisible rubber band with the left hand and slowly stretch it forward, up, and back. And take a couple of those so it's opposite hand to knee. And as you do this, you might feel the cross core waking up, the left side of the rib cage connecting to the right hip all the way down to the right knee. And then we'll put those two movements together. So slowly lower hands, paw hands forward, push into the fingertips for your cat stretch. And then roll up, left hand to thigh, grab that same rubber band, reach it forward, up and back. Take a couple pulses on the same side, and then we'll practice it on the other side. And the most important thing today, because it always changes, is to feel how the arm is connected to that opposite hip. We want the body to feel a unity. We want our two halves to unite at the core, so everything we do is harmonious. So try to feel that sense of interconnection, and don't worry about how far you go. The next time you're down, slowly roll up, and we'll practice the opposite side. So now, right hand to thigh, take a couple of those. I feel like I'm like starting a lawnmower in slow motion, but like really beautifully. If you want to sync this with your breath, try exhaling as you lift the hand up and back, and that might help with the integration. And then we can lower the hands down, paw them forward, take the cat stretch, and slowly roll up into the right hand opening. And now that the two movements are connected, do whatever breath feels the most useful to you. It might even be a full inhale and exhale on each part of the movement. So move at your own pace and decide. And the next time the right hand is reaching up and back, pause. Gently come to center. Lower the hand. Grab your prop. If you used it on the first side for your hands, you can place it over to the left and then step the right foot forward for our short lunge. Hands can come to blocks, blanket, or floor. First, paw out the hands. Find something that's comfortable for the wrists. If you have sensitive wrists, sometimes it's nice to have them on the edge of the bolster so the fingertips come off the side. And we begin by circling the weight on the right heel. Let the foot do whatever it wants at first. So it might roll all over the place, which is fine. You'll get stretch in different areas of the foot. And then to wake up more muscles in the foot, gently anchor the big toe as you keep circling the weight on the heel. And you might notice a little more activity in the arch of the foot, a little more sensation or awareness through the whole foot. And then pause and play with just flexing and extending through the ankle. Keep the weight in the heel. And then start to turn the angle of the foot. The toes can turn out, the toes can turn in. Take your time. And anything is fair game as long as it feels supported. And you really don't want to feel sensation at your joints, especially in this case your knee joint. We'll eventually meet with the knees, or with the toes pointed out to the right now. The knee gently bending over the ankle. Push down into the left knee to slowly rise up. I'm going to turn just so you can see me. You can stay where you are or you can turn. Start to bend into the right knee a little bit more, allowing the hips to gently open but not overstretching them. And the next time you come into the stretch, come out just an inch and notice any sensation of a gentle hugging in and up. The arms can come to T. Keep those muscles on as you take some small pulses, imagining how the legs are connected towards one another, how they're united and working together with the core. And the arms can gently flap if that feels good. And then I'm going to turn to go back to where we started. The hands will lower, move your prop out of the way, point the right toe and gently kick the right foot behind you. Tuck the toes under and start to stretch into the right calf. Take a couple of breaths into the back of the right leg and then tuck the left toes under. Lift the left knee, push into the hands to send the hips up and back. Notice how the belly and the thigh unite here. Later on, we'll be doing Parsvottanasana, a standing forward fold, and this sensation will be helpful. So notice it now. Next, inhale, lower the left knee, reach the left fingertips forward, up, and open. And then as you exhale, plant the left hand, hover the left knee, and return to your staggered down dog. And now at your own pace, you'll inhale into that gentle spiral and exhale into down dog. And you can always pause in either of those positions. You can add on, you can subtract. And try to move at a pace that allows you to really feel the beginning, middle, and end of each movement, and each breath. And the next time The left knee comes down. Bring the right knee into meet it. Grab your bolster, and we'll just do one more gentle Bhaktasana. Index fingers point towards one another, so there's just a big diamond with the arms, the elbows slightly bent. Untuck the toes. Rest the forehead. And breathe down to the low back and the deep abdomen below the belly button. Walk the hands in. It's okay to bring them onto the bolster. Tuck the toes under. Send the hips back to the heels. Slowly start to lift the knees. Keep walking the hands in towards the feet, and let the back of the body start to unfold evenly. So you end up in a forward fold, but you don't necessarily feel it at a single point anywhere. Let the head hang as long as there's no pressure in the neck when you do that. And try bending the knees enough that the low back can really release, just like we were in that staggered down dog, and you could feel the thighs and the belly touching. Shift the weight back into the heels. Drop the sits bones. As you do that, notice any sense of engagement through the glutes. Start to walk the hands up the legs, rolling up one vertebra at a time with awareness of the abdomen hugging in to support the front of the spine. Head and neck come up last. And pause at the top. And notice how your Tadasana feels. Notice if you've just landed in a supportive mountain pose, literally, where you feel that grounded sense of anchoring down yet being sky high. Okay, so we've got some options. You're welcome to grab a sip of water. You can go for a little walk around your space. Actually, I shouldn't have said that was an option. You should definitely go for a walk around your space. And you can also go to the next track of the playlist. And as you walk through your space, we've really taken a lot of time to wake up all the joints, to wake up the deep core, wake up the ankles and the big toes, and to wake up our awareness of how everything fits together. And so just take the next minute to observe what it's like to be in your body, walking through your space. And make your way back to your mat at the exact same pace that you're already traveling. And bend down to pick up your prop. And move it out of the way. And it's sort of like a pop quiz, because I'm beautiful. I'm observing your beautiful body mechanics that are so natural. As you fold forward, you can move it out of the way. I don't think we'll be using it till we come back at the end. And let's meet at the right side of the mat with a runway in front of us. The right side of your body should be towards the screen if you were able to set up parallel. And take a gentle step with the left foot. So pretty short step, or at least for me, because I have very short legs. Notice with that natural step how the feet have equal weight in them. And if they don't, see if you can find that. And then take a tiny bend in the front knee and scoop the air up with the arms. Notice the connection up from the right foot all the way up the right side of the body. A gentle extension through the whole right side. Take a breath. And then straighten the front leg. Release the arms. and take another step. So now the right leg's in front. Same thing. Bend the knee, scoop the air up. And we'll sync this with our breath now. So the exhale will straighten the leg and drop the arms. And the inhale will step the back leg forward as you bend the knee and scoop the air up. Exhale, straighten the leg, release the arms. Inhale, step forward, bend knees, scoop up. And we'll actually continue on our own, just like you walking around your space, but now you're walking around in these baby Virabhadrasana ones. And what I want you to notice here, you might have to turn, I have to turn, you probably do too, is a sense of evenness. I'll try to stay in the frame though. A sense of evenness and support through the legs. Notice how relaxed the low back is. And notice if you can really feel a sense of connection through the back leg, up through the core, all the way up into the arms. And in a moment, we'll do a full Virabhadrasana one, and I'm going to want you to bring the same energetic quality of evenness and lightness. And so try to memorize it. What is it like when all your joints are supported and there's no strain? Make your way back towards your mat. This time you can actually just walk like a normal human. It might take a while if you were walking like that. So now step the left foot forward in that short stance. But start to give yourself space. So inchworm the front foot forward and slightly to the left, just a little bit. And actually, I went too far. Do less than I did. And take a couple of pulses there. I really enjoy exhaling as I bend the knees and bend the front knee and lift the arms so that my core gently engages. And then inhaling to release. And take a few pulses and see if you can bring that same quality of evenness that we had in the shorter stance. And if you can, then you graduate and you can inch the foot forward a little bit and try again. And if you can't, then I'm sorry, you have to keep doing the awkward Vira 1 walks and refine that gentleness. And then test it. Can you give yourself more space without losing it? And the next time you're in Virabhadrasana 1, whatever position you found for that, pause there, gaze at the back foot. I didn't cue you where to put the back foot, and the feet that I can see look great, but I want you to just notice where the toes are pointed, and it should be mostly forward, and there shouldn't be any pressure in your knee. And if you're taking those baby walks and finding that evenness, it probably happened naturally. Straighten the front leg and start to reach the left hand forward, up, and back for a very gentle twist. You don't have to go very far here. Let the left arm continue to circle down, and as it comes forward, bend the left knee back into Virabhadrasana 1. And so we'll play in those two shapes now. So inhaling to circle open, probably away from me, twisting towards that front leg, and exhaling into that even Virabhadrasana 1. And the next time you're in Virabhadrasana 1, pause there, bend the left knee a little bit more, bring the hands to the thighs, and imagine the upper body deflating. Let it start to drape over your legs. You feel the belly resting on the thigh. The hand can slide down, hold on to your calf, your foot, or even the floor. It's fine for the back heel to lift if that's more comfortable. And play with bringing a little extra weight into the left heel, letting the left leg extend just a little bit, but try not to strain, especially in the low back. Inhale, bend deeply into the front knee, and then exhale, kick into the heel, trying to gently round through the base of the spine.
That area we've been practicing bringing the space below the belly button up towards the spine. And it's really gentle, just trying to release tension. A lot of us carry tension in our low back. The next time the left knee bends, lift the right heel, turn the right toes forward, and ever so gently start to bring the right knee down to the mat with control. This is a really good leg strengthener. Nice, Roseanne. That looks so supported. You're probably in a short lunge stance here. Shift the weight into left heel and right knee. Slowly roll up one vertebra at a time. Lift the arms into Anjaneyasana. If you want to inch the left foot forward and to the left for a more dramatic Anjaneyasana, you're more than welcome to do that. And then kick into the front foot. Push the hands forward and let the low back gently round, melting through the back of the body. Flex the front foot. Bring the fingertips down. Slowly circle the left foot back so the toes tuck underneath you, and then push into the hands. Lift the right knee for staggered down dog. And then lower the right knee and circle the right fingertips forward, up, and back. And we'll take a few of those pulses at our own pace with our own breath. And the next time the right knee is down, bring the left knee forward to meet it. Tuck the toes under. Walk the hands in. Heels get heavy. Knees lift. Slowly lift the hips, melting into Uttanasana, standing forward bend. Adjust the feet any amount to make your hips feel supported. And then bend the knees generously. Sits bones towards heels. Slowly roll up one vertebra at a time. The hands can push into the legs, or you can use your core alone as long as there's no strain. And just like before, as the head stacks, notice if you land in a perfectly balanced Tadasana. And just be with that for a moment. And we'll do that same sequence on the other side. So now the right foot steps forward. We start with our short stance. Even weight in both feet. Bend the right knee, scoop the air up. Find that balance point. And then straighten the leg, lower the arms. Give yourself permission to inch the right foot forward just a little bit, and then re-find your Vira 1. And do this as many times as you want and as many times as you need to find that sweet spot. Maybe you wanted a little bit more when we were doing that short stance, and it feels satisfying to give yourself more space. Virabhadrasana 1 can be a stretch for the back hip. It can be a stretch for the back calf. It's a gentle back bend. And very strengthening for the legs when done in a supportive and even way. When you find your Virabhadrasana 1 for today, pause there. Gaze at the back foot and just notice where it ended up without you telling it where to go. Make sure the back knee isn't feeling any twisting or pressure, and if it is, point the back toes more forward. And now we straighten the front leg and circle the right arm back and open. And then to sync this with your breath, as you exhale, bend the right knee and lift the arm. Inhale for the circle. It's not about a deep twist, but more of a sense of buoyancy. And then exhale into your Vira 1. And the next time you're in Vira 1, pause there. Bring equal balance to both feet. Notice how light you can be here. If the back heel's down, try pushing down into the heel a little bit to bring more awareness to the back of the left leg while still bending the right knee. And then keeping this nice bend in the right knee, hands to thighs, start to melt the spine forward, draping it over the leg. Sorry I didn't have you grab blocks. You can always rest hands on blocks, on the leg, on the foot, on the floor. And try to let the spine spill out of the pelvis so you're not holding anywhere and the head can relax. Play with kicking into the right heel. There's no goal to straighten the leg, but notice if it feels good to bring more length there, and if you can keep scooping the belly so it's not just about the right leg, but it's about the whole back side of the body lengthening all the way up through the neck, even across to the eyebrows. And then turn the left toes forward, bend the left knee, lift the left heel, slowly lower the left knee down. Push down into the right heel, roll up one vertebra at a time. And as you scoop the air up, try to open to a little feeling of exaltation here, that lightness, that lifting, that joy that can emerge when we allow it. And then option to inch the front foot forward any amount if you want a deeper Anjaneyasana, but honestly I prefer the shorter one, so there's not a right or a wrong. And then gently release forward, kicking into the front leg, rounding evenly through the spine. You shouldn't feel it in one place. And then start to circle the right foot to the side and then behind you, tucking the toes under. Hover the left knee, push into the hands, staggered down dog. On your next inhale, lower the left knee, circle the left arm forward, up and back. And then exhale back into down dog. And please move with your own breath flow so you're really listening and following your own body. And the next time the left knee lowers, step both feet back into plank. Bend both knees to hover above the mat. Push into the hands, sending the hips up and back, straight line from fingertips to hips. Try to notice the sense of pushing into the hands and how that allows you to lift the hips. And then let the backs of the legs unfold any amount for Adho Mukha Svanasana. Push into the feet and start to round the spine, bringing your awareness to the pit of the abdomen that we've been focusing on. Slowly start to roll forward into a puffy plank. Lower the knees and drag the hands back and wide to let the front of the body open in a modified upward facing dog. If that felt good and you'd like to do it again, you can exhale back into down dog and take your time inhaling forward. Most important thing here is the rounding of the spine, letting the front of the body support the spine as you roll forward and even as the spine extends so that the low back stays soft. If you want to keep the knees down, you can do it from that initial position that we explored so much, our cat stretch, and then you can roll forward to an exalted cow or a supported up dog. And just make sure there's no pressure in the low back. And the way we avoid that is by awakening as much support as possible in the front of the body. And that's what we've done through the majority of our class today. The next time you're forward, very gently start to release onto the belly, which is hard because it's kind of like a reverse push-up. So take your time. Stack the hands, elbows wide, forehead to hands. And let your body soften. Slide the hands forward, lengthening through both sides of the body from fingertips all the way to toes. Lift your left foot, cross it over the body, gently rolling onto the back and curling right up into Apanasana like we did at the beginning of class, and then stretch everything out to an X. Left leg crosses onto the belly. Option to add in Sphinx pose here if you want, or you can just roll to the other side now that you kind of know what to expect. And we'll do one more to each side. And give yourself permission to add, subtract, and pause. And the next time you roll over the left side back onto the mat, you are balanced and complete. Walk the hands in, push into the hands to send the hips back to the heels, untuck the feet, melt the forehead. Heavy pelvis sinks towards the heels and slowly roll up one vertebra at a time. And if you're following along with the music, you can skip ahead 2 songs to the song called Dreams and turn towards me in a low kneeling position. And grab your bolster so it's really close. And then turn back to the left into tabletop. Slide the left knee forward towards the left shin and gently swivel the shin for a very supported pigeon pose. Play with swaying the hips from side to side. Resist the urge to grab the left foot and drag it forward. Let it be very natural. Lift the back knee, tuck the back toes under, make some big circles with the hips. And then gently lower the back knee down, shift the weight into the left hip, bend the right knee so you're in a staggered stance. Arms up. Roll over the feet and reset them so you're towards center, and then roll the feet the other way. Plant the hands down and gently and tenderly start to point the left knee forward, or right knee forward, right toes back. Extend the left leg behind you. Lower the left knee or keep it lifted as you circle the hips, just gently massaging the hips out. Go the opposite direction. And then release the back knee down. Gently melt the right hip down. Drag the left knee in for your staggered stance. And this time twist gently to the right. Lengthening from the bottom of the spine all the way up. Allowing the spine to unfold. Sending the crown of the head higher and higher as you gently twist to the right. And then as you untwist, take the momentum all the way over to the other side. Same thing. And once again, same thing as you untwist, take it all the way over to the other side, but this time, grab your bolster. And so you guys have all seen yoga blankets at some point. So you have a sense of how big they are. My situation is one yoga blanket rolled up and then rolled in another yoga blanket. I find when I don't have enough support here, it's uncomfortable and I can't actually relax. So if you're in this position and you're not comfortable, give yourself permission to go find another pillow. It's not worth it to be uncomfortable. So with the legs in a staggered stance, make sure the knees feel supported, and if this isn't comfortable for you, it is okay to change the angle and tuck the legs in a little bit. I prefer the bigger angle. That's more comfortable for me. And then the blanket can be just a couple inches away from you so that it'll cradle your whole body, including your head. And start by bringing your forearms down to frame the blanket. And you might notice the bottom of the spine twisting here. Breathe into the low back. Breathe into the outer right hip. And then gaze to the left. Lower the right ear towards the blanket. It might feel like nothing. And that's actually the point. You do not want to feel a stretch. We're really just trying to soften and relax without any strain. And if you're not used to resting in poses, perhaps the music is helpful to you. If it feels comfortable and safe, pausing the music will be the most restorative. So it's totally up to you. As you start to relax here, give yourself permission to change the angle of the legs, to shift around on the hips, to bring the elbows a little wider so the shoulders can relax. And then see if you can get to a place where you can release your grip on the physical body. And after the physical body, we have the layer of the breath. As you connect with the breath, try to release any sense of trying. And the breath carries with it so much nourishment, physically and also energetically. And see how much gentle focus you can bring to letting the breath do its thing, completely uncontrolled and uninhibited. Now, ever so gently start to tap your fingers on the mat, almost like a gentle rain. Start to slide the fingers back so they're closer to the shoulders, and then gently begin pushing into the hands, lifting the body up. Walk the hands towards the thigh and take a gentle twist to your right. And we'll stay here for a few breaths. And then bring the left knee to stack on top of the right and slowly roll to center. Wrap your hands around your shins. And this is a gentle forward fold. You can stay right here. If you want a little bit more, you can inch your feet forward and grab behind the knees and round forward over the legs. Breathe along the spine. Bring your awareness to that space below the abdomen that we've focused on throughout class. Push into the soles of the feet to gently roll up and allow the knees to point to the left. Stagger the legs. Whatever comfortable position you found on the first side might be a good thing to do on the second side. And we'll start with our gentle twist to the left. And then bring your bolster over. I'm pointing my knees a little bit more to the right so that the bottom edge of the bolster is parallel to the angle of my thigh. And then now that you know where we're headed, see if you can move there a little slower and a little more intentionally. And make little adjustments along the way, shifting the angle of the legs, of the body, of the arms, so that when you eventually settle, you've already weaseled your way into a comfortable position. And the face can always be down if that's more comfortable on the neck. And a good way to prepare for a restorative pose is to make sure nothing is talking to you. There's no sensations in any of your joints, whether pleasant or unpleasant. And it's from that comfortable, easy position that we want to rest. And in these deep states of conscious rest, our body repairs itself on so many different levels. And so as you relax here and breathe, see if you can tune into a sense of trust, trusting your body to heal itself, and gratitude for that opportunity. And often we're not used to relaxing. So if you notice any tension in the body or many thoughts, that's totally fine. And see if you can keep tuning into the breath and keep trusting that this process of relaxation is beneficial and nourishing. And start to tap the fingertips. Listen to the sound of the gentle rain. Slide the hands back. Start to push into the outer edge of the hands, gently rising up. Take your time. Keep breathing. Make any little adjustments with the legs and then start to twist to the left. And breathe into the twist, letting the left side of the body expand. And then gently untwist. Stack the legs. Roll onto the feet so the knees point up. Bring the soles of the feet together and make some really gentle butterfly movements with the knees here. And you'll need some space behind you for a modified fish pose, so you might want to turn to the side, depends on your space. We'll start by curling the legs in and rounding forward, breathing down through the spine. And then on an exhale, draw the soles of the feet together, let the knees open, place the fingertips behind you, and gently lengthen through the front of the body. And then inhale, soles of the feet down, push into the hands, breathing and filling the space through the back of the body. And then exhale, soles of the feet together, knees open, drag the arms back to open the front of the body. And take your time. You can switch the breath up to whatever way is most constructive for you. You can pause in either of those movements. If you are really enjoying the back bend, you can stay there longer. I really like doing fish pose with the soles of the feet together because that gentle squeeze of the legs helps me awaken more support in my pelvic floor up through my spine. And take one more. And we'll meet upright. And grab your ginormous bolster and place it underneath the backs of the knees. Amanda's got a humidifier and heat on, so I know that she's nice and comfy. But if you need to grab a sweater or some socks so that you can relax fully in Shavasana, we'll do Shavasana and then we'll come up for meditation at the end. And so, just like we've done in so many poses, take your time starting to melt down. starting to release and give yourself permission to make little adjustments along the way. Play with letting the feet come a little wider. If you've got a ponytail, take the time to take it out. And I know that you've woken up so much awareness in your body. Notice if there's any areas that feel tense or need to be supported differently. If the elbows feel like they're hyperextending, you can bend them and bring the fingertips to the hips or thighs. And make sure all the joints feel spacious. The shoulders can root onto the rib cage. The back of the neck can soften. It's sort of like you're giving yourself a double chin, but it's a good thing. And when you find a place that feels very nourishing, pause and release the body completely. And see how deeply you can relax. And it's almost as if waves of tension can be released from the body if we're just willing to let go.
Gently allow the breath to deepen. Make gentle movements. You can roll the wrists in and out, the head from side to side, point and flex the feet, or whatever helps you start to wake up the physical body. Mm. Bring the knees into the chest and gently rock from side to side. And then roll all the way over to face me and ever so gently push into the arms to lift up. You can use your big cushion as a meditation seat or grab whatever you like. And as you find your seat, notice if it's a little easier to support yourself and find stillness and feel safe and comfortable there. Let the body fade into the background and bring more focus to your natural breath flow. And though it's light and gentle, try to be aware of it traveling all the way down to that abdominal space that we've been focusing on. Mm. The living mantra that we've been given with the breath is hum, sa. Hum attaches to each natural inhale and sa to each natural exhale. You can close the eyes or gaze at a single point and just follow the breath and the gentle mantra. And connecting with the breath is an amazing, nourishing tool, but it's not the end goal of our meditation practice. In the yogic tradition, Our goal is uniting with the inner self, this place of inner perfection, complete consciousness and bliss. And so, with the body and the mind in this very relaxed state, notice what is allowed to bubble up as you focus on your breath. Thank you for practicing. Namaste. Hmm.